Welcome to BossUp Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Karissa Adkins. Karissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another awesome, fun episode of BossUp Babes. I'm your host and go-to expert for women's mental and physical health, Karissa Adkins. I personally help CEOs, coaches, and other lady bosses boss up, get fit, and ultimately become unstoppable with their health, their wealth, their life, etc. And today on BossUp Babes Podcast, we are talking all things financial wellness, how to protect yourself financially, and how women in financial services can thrive. It doesn't all have to be burnout, overwhelm, and exhaustion. And what a better expert to have this conversation with than Shelly Hood. She is a good friend of mine. I got the pleasure to know her about, I want to say maybe a year ago. It's maybe probably been longer than that.
Almost 2.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I cannot believe that. It's been 2 years, she's saying, and I believe her. And I've had her on, I got the pleasure to really meet her in person. She was on my TV show called Living Real TV. And I loved her so much there. I was like, girl, we've got to have a conversation on BossUp Babes. Different crowd, different women, different demographic, like different parts of the world. People are seeing this. So with that, I would love to introduce you to my next guest. And I thought I would introduce you to her, or to you to her, with some cool words. So hustler, determined, resilient, agile, clever. These are all words that I would use to describe Shelly. She is a freaking powerhouse female. I told you that. She has a huge passion for all things wellness and uses her background in yoga to guide her relationships personally and professionally. Her dual focus on her business is with her customers and also growing career paths for females in financial services. So we're going to learn more about that. But with that, Shelly, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's crazy because we met in the heart of COVID over Zoom, and you were kind of rebranding and I was trying to figure out what next was for me. And so this is just so surreal, almost being here 2 years later, like just where we both are at. It's kind of wild.
It is. And this show could have been a whole show on like how you can really use like connections to leverage and help grow you personally and professionally. Cause that's exactly how we met. We were on we were in an event for the Omaha Chamber of Commerce. And, you guys, in the heart of Zoom, like we were all in breakout rooms and we were learning about each other and we were, chit-chatting and networking. And how I know Shelly's a BossUp babe is I literally reached out to her via email, right? Or messenger. I was like, I would love to connect with you offline. And she actually connected back with me. Do you know how many people I email and then like ghost me completely? I'm like, okay, what if I had a lead for you? So it tells me that if I ever had a lead for Shelly, I would be able to send it over to her, no problem. Her integrity, her character, like she's a total BossUp babe. And that's exactly why we needed her on the show. So Shelly, I'd love to get the party started with like a fun question of the day, question you don't know about what's coming. And it's typically inspired by something that I just got done doing this last week.
Ooh, okay.
So last week I had the opportunity. I spent 4 amazing days in Scottsdale, Arizona, with some powerful human beings. It was so fun to be with 150 human beings that are not just dreamers, not just millionaires, but people who actually like they're doers, right? They have a vision, they have a dream, and they get shit done and they commit and they do it. As you know, so many people like commit or they say they want to do something and then they don't do anything about it. But these were people like in the room that are going to get shit done. Like these are global changers, right? So it's really cool to be surrounded by that energy and power of like big thinkers, right? But part of the experience was, the event guy, Alok, he wanted us to have an experience. And so he brought in all these different types of people, right? So not only were we just showing up around tables and writing notes and learning from speakers and whatnot, but he brought in experiences, like people who come in and you're guaranteed to leave with an experience. So the question for you is, and then I'll reveal what the heck I even did, is when's the last time you've done something, some type of experience that you've never done, that you walked away with thinking, damn, I got to do more of this in my life? Can you think of something that you like did that you were like, this was really cool. I've never thought about doing it. I did it. And now I want more.
That's what
like a new workout, a new, like a new exercise, or, new food. Like it's all the times we kind of forget that like we're still, we need to be human beings having a being experience. And sometimes we get caught in like the everyday, like, oh yeah, this is what I do
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So when's the last time you did anything that was like you've never tried and you absolutely loved it?
Oh, okay. I have one. Saturday night, I actually went to something for State Farm to celebrate high-performing team members in the tri-state area with my very dear friend and agent partner, Candy. And afterwards, we went to a tiki bar. I would never go to a tiki bar normally.
A tiki bar.
I like maybe sit and have a glass of wine or go home and go to bed because I go to bed so early. And I didn't even know this tiki bar existed down Homa. It was so fun. So I tried a drink I would never try before because I'm normally super like water and maybe and I don't even remember, but it was amazing. And I met a bunch of new people that were in from out of state, had great conversation. It was I would have never done that. Never done it.
Perfect. Oh, so good, right? So you learned a new place, you met some new cool people, and you learned like, hey, I can stay up past 8 o'clock.
9 o'clock and function and have a good time and still survive and be fine in the morning. I mean, that was my biggest stressor, like, oh, I really should go to bed. But oh my gosh, I'm so glad I stayed. I just met, and especially because they're all associated with the State Farm brand, but from different areas and paths. I mean, I just left completely, my bucket was totally full.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so many times we get stuck in the same rut. We forget to try new things. So I'm at this event and this was stretching me, right? It was a 9 to 10 p.m. event. And if you've sat in conference rooms, right? You're like, after 5, you're checked out, you're not ready anymore. But because this was such a unique conference, every night after dinner, we would all come back into the ballroom and the whole room would be transformed into something. And I'm a big believer in breath work. I love mindfulness practices, but I have never done the full like belly, chest breath work. And
like breath of fire.
Yes. Yeah. So we are literally laying on the floor. There's 160 like major powerhouse business, like guys that have probably never used breath work at all. And I loved it that everyone was trying it, but we did it and we did 4 different types of cycles through it. And by the second cycle, because I'm I can hypnotize myself and my clients, but I could feel my arms rising and my hands, like the energy in that room, because I could feel it. Right? I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy as I'm breathing and practicing, but so cool. I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going home and I'm going to learn this breath work and I'm going to do more of it. So cool. Well, thanks for playing along. I know that was like,
I love that.
Where are we going with this, Karissa? So bringing it back in before we go to break, because it goes by so fast. I want to know, like, who is Shelly? Give me like your 2-minute overview of your story. How did you get from where you were to this powerhouse boss babe financial queen? How'd you get there?
Well, my dad was a financial advisor and my mom was his support. So I grew up around it and swore I would never do it. And so my history really in college, I started in retail. So 21 years in retail, 18 years at Victoria's Secret, which really introduced me to what a mega powerhouse brand can be. And I learned so much. I had amazing women leaders, started part-time making $5.25 an hour, and ended as a district manager of 11 stores. And then spent 3.5 years as a retail executive with other people from the brand at Bare Minerals, a makeup company. So I believe that I needed 21 years to train to be a business owner, because it is not, I didn't think I had an entrepreneurial spirit, although I was creative. And so when I was faced with a decision to make, and the company that kept messaging me to recruit me was State Farm, realizing there is more outside of retail, and I loved retail, and I have so much respect for those that are still fighting through it during and post COVID. And realized that I could take everything I learned and build a solid operating platform, a successful business plan, and scale that in the future to multiple agencies through my 21 years of experience. And I just also finished a master's in organizational performance and leadership. So I got to take all of that and start applying it. And that's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary, going from a W-2, okay, no matter what, even though I'm really good, I'm going to get a paycheck, to, okay, literally paid based on my performance, and I'm paying people, other individuals, and it's their livelihood. So it's not just me and my family. It's like, this bigger thing. But I really do believe that financial services is critical. Financial wellness. I started to really study, with my yoga background, what that means, your relationship with money, the mentality around it, and really discovered women, while sometimes make a lot of the decisions, really don't understand and shy away from being educated, because it has been a male dominated industry, and it's just an intimidating topic in general. Yeah. So I decided to have a dual focus, supporting and growing a business, and just as important to me, growing career paths for other females in financial services, because in the next 10 years, over 30% of professionals in the Midwest will be retiring. And so it's a huge opportunity, not just today, which it is today, but in the future. And I'm always in the long game here. In the future, there's going to be so much opportunity. Women want to do business with women. Yeah. And there's something about our nurturing spirit that makes those really tough conversations a little bit easier. Yeah, I think that, so that's really how I landed here. And just fell in love with networking. Yeah. It's like my part-time job, and I love every second of it. I love supporting other small business owners, in every shape and size, whether they don't have any employees or they have a bunch of whatever I can do to promote them, support them. I get so much energy from that. Yeah. And I believe good business and results are a side effect of relationships.
100%. So with all of that, right? Like, you just made it sound like super easy. Like, I went from here to here and yet you're like, oh my gosh. What would be like the top biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome, whether it's like a mental hurdle, your mindset hurdle, or like straight up business hurdle? Like, what was the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome in your
I think that for any of us, we are our own worst enemy. And we have limited thinking. I never thought I could start my own business. My parents actually suggested it at first. I'm like, can never own my own business, never doing it, never want to do it. I couldn't see beyond what I already knew. And it's that fear factor. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest obstacle. I think there's also, in this industry, there are a lot of tests. I've taken a lot of tests. I have a lot of, I have my securities now, which another thing I said I would never do after doing PNC and life and health and my mortgage loan. And then I did it all through Holiday. But it's so temporary to give you this long runway of potential. So I think that was my biggest thing, is it's like, I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm too old to start over. All of those things get in your way. And guys, it's only you.
Yeah, it's you versus you. And it's funny you mentioned that, because a lot of women, you work with women, you network with women. As a coach, that's the only, community that I serve is working career focused women. And it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of limiting beliefs that first we have to go in and really kind of get out of the way, so that we can step into our greatest potential, like stop into that ultimate, mindset of I can do anything that I put my mind to, and that I am enough and I am worthy of going after these big ass dreams. So, yeah, I love it. And the coach, I literally, at these events, I got 15 minutes with like this powerhouse coach. And he's like, Karissa, when's the last time you sat down and like looked at all that you've accomplished in just a couple of years? Because like as ambitious women, we're like, okay, what's next? Cool. I climbed that mountain. What's next? And he's like, I just want you, because he's like, you're freaking doing it. You just had a 50K month. Like what? Like who does these, right? Like things like from nothing to this. And I'm like, I know. And he's like, well, when's the last time you just sat down and like was like super grateful for the 3 year of growth that you've gone through? And I'm like, I feel like I do this a lot. I'm grateful. I have gratitude practice, but I'm like, man, he goes, every morning I want you to, instead of to be envisioning what you want in the future, envision like the woman that you had to become in order to get here. Right. That's huge. So yeah, if anyone's out there is looking to like boss up and like level up, whether it's career wise, money wise, health wise, like there are women out here that want to do business with you, that want to help you get to the next level of success. Which kind of, you said it earlier, you said financial wellness. And in my field, right, I talk a lot of health and wellness. And would you agree that health and wellness is like just an umbrella, like you mentioned, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. Like, don't just think wellness and think health. Don't just think health and think body, physical health, right? Like wellness, you guys, I want you to like, just reframe that here as like, wellness is everything, like holistic wellness. It's financial wellness. It's sexual wellness. It's business wellness. It's personal wellness, all kinds of things. So let's dive in a little bit. Cause like, what is financial wellness in your opinion?
Yeah. So there's a book out there, and I did this, and it came with like one of those survey Gallup tests, and it was the different levels of wellness. And I remember taking this and felt really good. So environmentally, and anywhere in the United States mainly, but definitely here in Nebraska, environmentally, we're so fortunate and really take that for granted. Looked at social wellness, being involved in your community, physical wellness, of course, which is the basis of everything. And I'm huge about that. Anybody knows me. And then mental / emotional wellness too. The fifth arm was financial wellness. And what was shocking is that according to the survey, none of us were financially well. And when I really dug into this, and it really stuck with me all these years, is why we're successful. So what's happening? And it's not that we're not financially well, it's that we don't have the right kind of relationship with our finances. And it's ongoing. It's not something you check off the list, just like any other wellness. It ebbs and flows. Crazy things happen. Hopefully you're prepared for it, but guess what? You can always come back from that. And so that's why I made the decision, I want to do something meaningful. So I really focus on, first of all, how do you protect what you have and what you will have in the future? So having those basic conversations with people. It is amazing to me, just the lack of awareness of what coverage you have. And I was even in an appointment right before this where they said, yeah, a lot of people, you just don't look at your insurance until it's too late. I'm like, which is why that my focus is education.
Yeah.
You buy whatever you want. My job is to educate you so you can make the right choices. It's like giving you a menu. But if I don't educate you on that, how will you know what's right for you? And by the way, that changes. So we're going to continue to have these conversations. Yeah. I also think that with financial wellness, it really bridges into how you can help your children at a very young age, at the time they're born, to start to prepare them for that. So big thing for me, and my passion really is around life insurance. And more and more, there's so many health issues, there's mental health issues. And so how do you start when you have a child and start thinking about little things that 30, 40, 50 years from now could be a game changer for them, that are so simple and really super affordable right now.
What would something like that be? Like, what do you mean?
An example like that would be, and a lot of people talk about 529s. Of course, that's something that's really important to think about. And there's a lot, it's really broadened in options, by the way. There's a lot of great tax benefits to that as well. But when I think of a basic whole life policy, when a child is born, it guarantees their insurability down the road. And for us and many companies, you get a guaranteed insurability option so that you can use that as a financial vehicle, add value to it without having to get approved. So I've had kids kicked out for diabetes. I've had, one of my own daughters for mental health could not qualify for that guaranteed insurability option. And so I'm really passionate about that, because these are real things that these kids have zero control over, parents have zero control over. So if you can do one small thing that could literally change the future of them and their children potentially right now, when there is so much uncertainty out there, you control nothing, that is a game changer. I think also at a young age, teaching them, what does liability mean? What are the consequences of your actions? I've had parents bring in teenagers and we've talked about it, and why these insurance is boring, it's expensive. Why do I have to have it? I hear it every day, and my job is to educate. And I say I protect it so that you can invest it. So those are things I'm really, really passionate about. I never get bored of talking about. You ask anybody in my circle, they're like, oh my gosh, if she says anything else about insurance right now.
Like, if you don't know, you can't blame anyone but yourself, like at the end of the day, right? And I used to be in an industry that insurance was a very huge part of it. And people would always come in the collision industry, right? And they would always be like, well, what do you mean I'm not covered for X? I'm like, do you have an agent? Because this is something your agent should cover. And they're like, I don't. I just went on and got some of the cheapest stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, unfortunately, not for us to tell you that it's not covered, or like you've got to protect yourself. And if you're not taking a proactive approach to this by like getting with someone like Shelly, then that's on you, right? At the end of the day, you got to take some personal responsibility. So let's switch gears here. Women in the financial services. Why, like, what are you looking to help like women become our businesses in this, or what is that all? Yeah.
My dual mission is, along with really building my brand and my business and helping as many customers as possible, supporting other business owners in the process. Equally as important to me is helping career path other women. And I did that in my past in retail. And it's really amazing. There was nothing more fulfilling than to get an email or a text saying, thank you for making me do my 401k. So it was always kind of predestined, because I was a weirdo about maximizing your benefits. And I tell customers, bring me your handbook. I can zip through that like that and tell you how to maximize your benefits. But things like that, and then just watching them thrive, teaching them, mentoring them. I probably learned more than they did, but that's really my passion is development. I knew at a young age. I was in an all-girls high school, was in a sorority. I have two beautiful teenage daughters, and worked up until now in female-dominated industries that I was passionate about helping other women. And in financial services, it's never going to be more important than now. And I really believe that women have shied away from it because it is intimidating.
Sure.
I was a strong businesswoman at an executive level, and I was intimidated by it. And so the majority of women are very intimidated. So how do I help bring them in wherever they're at in their life? And they come from all ages, all backgrounds. And even if it's something part-time right now, it's building their confidence, their knowledge, and it's going to supplement them in some way, even if this isn't their full-time thing. Or a couple of them have their own, actually, at least half of them have their own side businesses and side hustles. And this has only helped with them networking, help build their confidence, help build their knowledge. Again, I probably learned more from them than they have from me.
Right.
But seeing that long-term, there is so much opportunity in so many avenues, whether it be on the field side, on the claim side. There's just a lot of opportunities are going to be opening up, and not being afraid to ask questions, not being afraid to find that mentor, not being afraid of some of these tests, which trust me, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. And what a better way. So like they can reach out to you is what you're saying. And
absolutely.
So what's the best way for women to reach out to you or find you, at least if they're interested in any of this that we've talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. Goodwithhood.com is my website. Yes. And I'm on Facebook, Rochelle, Rachelle. Rochelle's my real name, Rochelle Hood. Instagram, Shelly K Hood. Message me. I always respond.
Love that.
So that's important to me. I really believe in the abundance mindset. There's more than enough business to go around. And if I support others, I know it's going to come back to me and to my team as well.
So one last fire tip. We've got just a couple of seconds here. Last big tip to leave for women.
Don't be afraid to ask the questions because everyone else is thinking it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. You guys, queens, mamas, thank you so much for listening to another great episode. Shelly, thank you for being an amazing guest.
You so much.
Yeah.
Great.
For sure. And anytime you can always come back. We can talk all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. But ladies, thank you so much for listening. I help women create those healthy habits so that they can, save and boss up, get healthy, get fit, get wealthy. And if that's you, feel free to reach out. If not, you have all the details to get in a hold of Shelly in the show notes below. So make sure you take time, boss up, and reach out and ask those questions. Until then, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to BossUp Babes with Karissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Karissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.